Africa, the birthplace of humanity. A land where the first footsteps of our ancestors were imprinted on the soil. A cradle of civilization that has given so much to the world. A continent bursting with life, resources, and potential. From the dense jungles teeming with wildlife to the vibrant markets filled with the sounds and colors of daily life, Africa is a place of immense beauty and diversity. We have fertile lands that can feed millions, glittering diamonds that captivate the world, and oil that flows beneath our feet, promising prosperity. These resources are the envy of many, yet they often become a curse rather than a blessing. Yet we are plagued by poverty. In the shadows of our wealth, there are communities struggling to survive, living in conditions that are hard to imagine. Overcrowded housing, lack of basic amenities, and a daily fight for survival are the harsh realities for many. Our people struggle. Our children go hungry. Despite the abundance of resources, malnutrition is rampant, and families often rely on aid to get by. Education, a key to breaking the cycle of poverty, is often underfunded and inadequate. How can a place so rich be home to so much suffering? The stark contrast between wealth and poverty is a daily reminder of the inequalities that exist. Affluent neighborhoods stand in sharp contrast to nearby slums, highlighting the divide that persists. The answer is simple, yet painful. Leadership, or rather, the lack of it. Our leaders, who should be the stewards of our resources and the champions of our people, often fall short. Corruption, mismanagement, and a lack of vision have held us back. Africa is a continent held hostage by its leaders. Leaders who prioritize their own gain over the welfare of their people. The cycle of corruption and power struggles has left many disillusioned and desperate for change. We have the resources to thrive, but we elect the very people who keep us chained to poverty. The promises made during campaigns often turn into empty words, leaving communities to fend for themselves. Think about it. We vote for those who promise us the world, but deliver only empty words. The cycle repeats itself, election after election, with little to no real change. We elect those who preach unity, but sow seeds of division. Leaders who should be uniting us often exploit our differences for their own gain, leading to unrest and conflict. We trust those who claim to be our saviors, only to find they are vultures in disguise. The disappointment and betrayal felt by the people are palpable, as promises are broken and hopes are dashed. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why, with so much at stake, do we choose the worst among us to lead the best of us? The reasons are complex, rooted in history, culture, and the socio-political landscape of our nations. The reasons are complex, woven into the fabric of our history and our societies. Colonial legacies, tribal affiliations, and economic dependencies all play a role in shaping our political landscape. But understand this: until we confront these issues, Africa will remain trapped in a cycle of its own making. The future of our continent depends on us recognizing these challenges and working together to overcome them. Only then can we unlock the true potential of Africa and create a brighter future for all. For too long, leadership in Africa has been about personal gain, not public service. The very essence of leadership has been distorted, turning it into a means for personal enrichment rather than a platform for societal development. This has created a chasm between the leaders and the people they are supposed to serve. It's about filling Swiss bank accounts, not building schools and hospitals. Leaders prioritize their wealth over the welfare of their citizens, stashing away millions in foreign accounts while neglecting the basic needs of their communities. This misallocation of resources has left our educational and healthcare systems in shambles. It's about power at any cost, even if that cost is the future of a nation. Leaders engage in aggressive power plays, often inciting violence and division to maintain their grip on authority. This relentless pursuit of power undermines the very fabric of our societies, leaving citizens to struggle and fend for themselves. We have leaders who build mansions while our schools crumble. These leaders live in opulence, surrounded by luxury, while the educational infrastructure deteriorates. Our children are forced to learn in dilapidated classrooms, devoid of the resources they need to succeed. Leaders who drive luxury cars while our hospitals lack basic supplies. The contrast is stark and heartbreaking. While leaders flaunt their wealth with extravagant cars, our hospitals are left without essential medical supplies, forcing healthcare workers to operate under dire conditions. Leaders who send their children to private schools overseas, while millions of African children are denied even a basic education. This disparity in educational opportunities perpetuates a cycle of inequality, where only the privileged few can access quality education, leaving the majority to languish in underfunded schools. This is not leadership. This is theft. It is a blatant robbery of our resources, our opportunities, and our future. The corruption and mismanagement have left our cities in disrepair and our government institutions ineffective. Theft of our resources, our opportunities, and our future. Our natural resources are being depleted, our industries are collapsing, and our youth are left with little hope for a better future. This systemic failure is a direct result of the leadership vacuum. And the worst part? We, the people, are complicit in this crime. By electing these leaders, we are giving them the power to continue their destructive practices. Our votes and our silence enable this cycle of corruption and neglect. We elect these leaders. We empower them. Every election is an opportunity to choose leaders who will prioritize the public good over personal gain. Yet time and again, we fall for empty promises and charismatic speeches, only to be disappointed by the same old patterns of corruption. We allow them to get away with murder, both literally and metaphorically. The consequences of our choices are dire, leading to loss of lives and the erosion of our societal values. We must hold our leaders accountable for their actions and demand justice for the wrongs committed. It's time to wake up, Africa. It's time to stop blaming colonialism, neo-colonialism, or any other ism. While these factors have played a role in our history, we must take responsibility for our present and future. We have the power to change our destiny. We are the masters of our own destiny. And right now we are failing miserably. But it doesn't have to be this way. By fostering a new generation of ethical, visionary leaders, we can turn the tide. The future of Africa lies in our hands, and it's time to rise to the challenge. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, tribalism. It's a topic that many shy away from, but it's crucial to address if we want to understand the political landscape in Africa. In Africa, elections are often a census of tribes, not a contest of ideas. The political arena becomes a battleground where tribal affiliations overshadow policy discussions and national interests. We vote for our own, even if our own is a corrupt crook who couldn't lead a donkey to water. This loyalty to tribe over competence has far-reaching consequences affecting governance and development. Politicians know this. They exploit our tribal insecurities, whispering fear and division into our ears. They manipulate our emotions, turning us against each other for their gain. They tell us the other tribe is the enemy, that they will steal our land, our jobs, our very way of life. This rhetoric fuels animosity and conflict, tearing communities apart. And tragically, we believe them. We must break free from this tribal trap. It's a cycle that perpetuates poverty, violence, and underdevelopment. We are not just Kikuyu, Luo, Igbo, Zulu, or Xhosa. We are a mosaic of cultures and identities, each contributing to the rich tapestry of our continent. We are Africans. Our loyalty should lie with our nations, not with our tribes. Unity is our strength, and together, we can build a future that benefits all. Until we understand this, we will continue to elect leaders who divide us, rather than unite us. The path to progress lies in embracing our shared identity and working towards common goals. Let's be honest, a bag of rice can buy a vote in many parts of Africa. A few dollars, a t-shirt, even a promise whispered in the dark. These are the tools used to buy our futures. We sell our votes for pennies, then wonder why our lives remain mired in poverty. The sad truth is, poverty makes people vulnerable. When you're struggling to feed your family, a few dollars can seem like a fortune. But that short-term gain comes at a devastating long-term cost. We sell our votes, and in doing so, we sell our future. We need to break this cycle of dependence. We need to understand that true power doesn't come from a handout, but from holding our leaders accountable. In many parts of Africa, education is a privilege, not a right. And when people are denied education, they are denied the tools they need to think critically, to question authority, to demand better from their leaders. Ignorance is a breeding ground for corruption. It allows corrupt leaders to operate in the shadows, to plunder our resources without consequence. They keep us in the dark because they know that an educated populace is a threat to their power. We need to invest in education. We need to give every child the opportunity to learn, to grow, to reach their full potential. Education is not just about reading and writing. It's about empowerment. It's about giving people the tools they need to create change. Section 6. Where institutions crumble. Imagine a football match where the referee is also the star player on one of the teams. That's what it's like in many African countries. Our institutions, the courts, the electoral commissions, the police, are supposed to be impartial referees, ensuring fair play. But too often, these institutions are weak, underfunded, and easily manipulated by those in power. They become tools of oppression, used to silence dissent and protect the corrupt. We need to strengthen our institutions. We need to ensure they are independent, transparent, and accountable. We need a system where the rule of law applies to everyone, from the poorest citizen to the president himself. Section 7. The high cost of bad leadership. When leaders fail to serve their people, the consequences are dire. Communities suffer from a lack of basic services like healthcare, education, and clean water. Economic opportunities dry up, leading to widespread poverty and unemployment. Corruption and mismanagement drain national resources, leaving little for development. The high cost of bad leadership is paid by the people in lost potential, in broken dreams, and in lives cut short. Section 8. A brighter path forward. But all is not lost. Across the continent, there are signs of hope and resilience. Grassroots movements are rising, demanding accountability and change. Young people are stepping up, using their voices and their votes to shape a better future. We see innovation and entrepreneurship flourishing, creating new opportunities and driving progress. By investing in education, empowering women, and fostering inclusive governance, we can pave the way for a brighter, more prosperous Africa. Section 9. A call to action. The future of Africa lies in our hands. It is up to us to demand better from our leaders and to hold them accountable. We must engage in our communities, support civil society, and advocate for the changes we wish to see. Each one of us has a role to play in building a stronger, more just continent. Together, we can create the Africa we dream of, one where every person has the opportunity to thrive. Let us rise to the challenge and take action for the sake of our present and future generations.